Hello. We're at this stage of the restoration project. Steering and dashboard are ready to go back in. However, I've noticed at the steering column area, where the steering column goes into the rack, that there's some damage to the clutch pipe where it's been rubbing against it. Also, on the clutch master cylinder, put your hand up, there's a little bit of dampness, possibly brake fluid. Bearing in mind that this unit is well over 40 years old and the mileage that the vehicle's done, if it's a total restoration, which it is, I think it's going to be a good idea to pull the whole of this pedal box out, including the servo, overlook it all, overhaul where necessary, and see what problems we've got. So, without further ado, let's have a look and see how difficult that is. While the last of the fluid is draining out, we're going to take this brake servo air hose off. Experience tells me that there's no point in undoing this nut, this screw here, trying to take it down. They just don't want to come, that it will try and break the plastic pipe inside. Usually you can get a fork underneath this and lever it and it slides out of that rubber. See if I'm right. You get some sort of fork under that end and push from that end. Oh, we knocked the camera then. You see it did come out without damaging this. On an insulation on this, we'll just put a little grease around it and it'll slide in nicely. Thankfully, the masking tape stopped the brake fluid from going everywhere. Which, if you look at the colour, doesn't look too nice either, really. This pipe can come off the side. This is the feed to the clutch master cylinder. Let's see if we get any luck with that. Oh, that's going. Again, pays to be a little careful with these things. Going. Gone. Lovely. Next, we'll get the drain plug back in. Don't forget the tiny little cocker washer on the bottom. We'll have a problem with leakage. And we'll remove the two pipes. Funnily enough, yeah, they're 11mm. If you're lucky enough to have this type of spanner, that's great. If not, they usually come off with a C spanner, but you just have to be that little bit careful. Next, we're going to take the master cylinder itself out from the servo, which is these two bolts, one either side. Look like they're 13mm. Specifically because when we pull the master cylinder out, it shouldn't be attached to anything. It should slide out. In theory, I mean, a lot of them did in the past when I remember them. And what we're looking for is to look into the rear of this master cylinder. And if you see dampness, it means that the fluid is bypassing the seals. Right, the two nuts are off. Let's see if I'm right. Yes, off. Ooh. You can see a little, this is not wet, this one. There's something at the back there. So let's take that into the light and have a better look. Now I'm guessing that this pedal box, the whole unit, comes out from the bottom, slides out that way. However, it's certainly not going to come out with that there. So let's have a look at that, I think, and see if we can unbolt this servo unit and see how that comes off. My hands around the back, and there are two bolts there. I'm hoping that servo comes off this way. Right, by checking the video, because after two bolts removed it's still solid, so obviously there's more in there. There's two bolts at the top, two bolts at the bottom. So we're going to remove the clutch pipe from the clutch master cylinder, the hard one. We're going to undo these four bolts, and then tip the unit forward to get to the back of the servo unit. Okay. Two at the bottom came out very easily. These are the two at the top. Funny thing is, from the perspective of somebody who comes from that sort of era, the more you look at the design of it for the 1970s, the more you appreciate the engineering. Oh, yes. Now, those pedals are not going to come out from there. Absolutely not. However, I have now got access to the back of this, so we can have a look at all of this. Here's the back of the servo. See that? Those are the two top ones that we were able to get to. There's two more down here we're able to get to now. And this pin here, clevis pin, well, we call it a clevis pin. People from my age would have to come out to draw the servo forward. So let's get on with that now. Right, two top ones out. Got one off the other side. Hey presto, job's a good one. It looks ready to come out. However, you can just see there the bottom of the master cylinder for the clutch, held in by these two bolts there. That master cylinder is sticking out too much. It's in the way. So if you just remove those two bolts, the whole thing will just slide off. So we're going to do that now. Right, with the master cylinder off, we've got one bolt in here just to hold it up. Every now and then I touch something, it's got a little bit of brake fluid on it, which is probably why I'm switching off so often, because I'm going to wash my hands every single time to get the brake fluid off, because I really don't like those plastic gloves, especially not in this heat. Now, if we release this last bolt, in theory, okay, this should drop down and slide out. There we are. Pedal box out. Let's go and have a look at it. Well, there you are. There's the unit stripped into its its components. We'll start with the servo here, which has got a vacuum going into it and assists you with your braking. This one I forgot to mention earlier has been tested to make sure that it's not leaking, and that's absolutely fine, so that'll go again. On the front of that, got the brake master cylinder here. Now, on all brake master cylinders, they're much of a muchness. The piston goes through here, and you've got the rubbers. And as the piston goes forward, obviously that creates the pressure for the braking system. The majority of older vehicles, you will find that when the rubbers get bad or it gets bad inside, the brake fluid bypasses the rubbers, and you can see the brake fluid literally dripping out the back. This is not brake fluid here. This is a little bit of corrosion where the water was going in when the windscreen was out. There's no brake fluid coming out of this at all, because I pressurised it with my foot before I took it out to make sure. And I've checked on the service history of the vehicle, and this was put in around about 3,000 miles ago. So that's fine, that's good to go again. Here's the pedal box. I've dealt with lots of pedal boxes in my time on old vehicles. Had bits and pieces on them split and welds crack and this, that and the rest of it. I've inspected this unit. This is the first time I've seen a VW T25 pedal box. I think it's remarkably well made. I think it's still in fantastic condition. This definitely will go again. There's no problems with this. However, there is one small thing, which is then the clutch master cylinder, and that is levered with the clutch pedal via a pin here. You can see that in the middle. This is the pin that connects through to that. That attaches to the clutch pedal via one of these things. This is called a clevis pin. Clevis pin is a tiny little thing, but it does a lot of work. And I've had loads and loads of these on trucks, vans, lorries, and all sorts of things where these clevis pins wear and wear and wear, and you get wear right through the middle. That translates itself to excess movement in the pedal before you even start to press the pedal. It's a tiny little thing. I've got loads of them. I'll be replacing that before it goes back in, and I'll replace in this one as well. It's worth having a look at them to see how bad they are. They're pennies to buy, and you probably always end up regretting it if you don't do it. One of the original problems was this is a portion of the clutch pipe that comes out of the master cylinder, and this, if you can see the top there, has been worn away by the knuckle from the universal joint on the steering. It would seem to me that the pipe's been put in the wrong position. I don't think the Germans would make that mistake. I doubt that very much. So we're going to be making a new pipe for that, or buying one. Apart from that, I mean, I think we're pretty good to go. I'm pleased I took it out, because I will be doing a lot of mileage in this vehicle. And having took it out at this stage, I'm going to feel a lot more confident about it when I'm driving it. Well, here are the parts laid out after they've been refurbished, cleaned, painted, polished, checked, greased and what have you. Obviously we've got the bits that you can see like the servo, brake master cylinder, which is nothing wrong with that, clutch master cylinder, which we're replacing with a brand new one, pedal box in stunning condition, just a little bit of paint on the pedals because they were a bit scratched. The most surprising thing for me about disassembly and reassembly on this is the clevis pin over here. A close-up photo should be coming up round about now. Which I'm certain is the original one, by the way it was put in, has got virtually no wear on it at all. I mean, that is just amazing. It must be some quality piece of steel. It just makes you think a bit about the quality of the engineering and the thought that they put these things together when they put them together in Germany. We do know them as great engineers, and this is definitely an example of that. Right, pedal box slid in from the bottom. My hand back here, we're going to try and get this brake servo on. Support this at the back so this doesn't drop back in. Line that up. One nut and bolt just to hold. And before we get too carried away, just leave it fairly loose. It's always good to do that. Going to give ourselves a little bit of movement now on this pin to try and line this up. The brake pedal, which is currently resting on there. I can just ease that forward and hopefully line the thing up. There. Clevis pin in. All we're going to have to do is add the split pin, put the 4 nuts and bolts on, tighten them up. Bottom bolts a bit more tricky. We're going to go with the age-old mechanics trick. Wedging a bit of paper into the socket. So we can line up and bolt in. There we go, still works. Next, a little bit of grease. Addition. How many washers? I doubt very much. Germany. In. But you do want it dropping in, not ripping rubbers. Lovely, lovely warm day. Really does help. Up there. That's gone. And that settled down nicely. Next, brake pipes. Always a good idea. Try and square them up, make sure they're dead square before they go in, and check the ends. These spin lovely. Perfect condition. Damaged. Get them to go in. Nice by hand. Really is good. Quite an easy thing. Both of them look lovely. small smear of grease around the servo hose pipe. Lightly apply some pressure. Next, clutch master cylinder, which slides up from the back here, and you've got to slide the neck of it where the rubber hole is onto that pin at the back. So I think we're in. You have to be fairly dexterous about it. We'll leave that one slightly loose to give us a bit of movement on the top one. And they've gone lovely. Brake fluid supply hose, which you can see here, has to be fed up the back. Smoothly. Once that hose is through, plastic insert, this literally just pushes on. No hose clamp necessary, because that's just a gravity feed, nothing else. Well, we're all piped up and bolted up. She's filled up with brake fluid. I'm going to leave that for a while. I'm going to leave that for about half an hour to an hour, because quite often a lot of the air bubbles out of the master cylinder and reaches through the top. I have seen people actually leave them overnight. If you're not in a hurry, it might not be a bad thing to do, because you're looking to get the air out of the cylinder first before you get it out of the brakes or the clutch, whichever part of it is that you're bleeding. Well, there we are, all done. Sorry about the sound earlier. I don't know what on earth happened there, but I can assure you the only way I can sort that out really is to take the whole thing apart again. I'm not doing that. I will say to you, we're not going to bleed the brakes on this, because we're going to be going over and refurbishing the whole of the braking system underneath, which will involve stripping out everything, so I'm sure you understand. I will say to you though, once you've messed with a unit like this, it's a good idea, once you have bled it, to pump up the brakes, hold the brakes on hard, and to make sure you've got no sign of leakage through any of the unions. That's the old-fashioned way of doing it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.